Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about um, the M2 discussion that's due this week. I just want to make sure we're reading it and going through the rubric. Uh, a large portion of it is of these assignments are making sure you follow the rubric. So the topic is M2 discussion, real number subsets. We use numbers every day. Numbers can be grouped into some special sets called the natural numbers. The whole numbers, the integers, and the rational numbers, the irrational numbers, and the real numbers. So you should look these up through the instructional materials found in the course, and make sure you know how to separate each one of them. It says each number we use has a meaning and belongs to one or more of the sets listed above. See Module 1 if you need to review the attributes of each number group. To prepare for this discussion, keep a log list of all the numbers, all of them you encounter throughout a day. Be mindful of their prevalence. Be intentional in watching for numbers of each type listed above. In your initial post to discussion, write a description of both the frequency and the types of numbers you encountered. Use your list to write the post, but do not post your list. Instead, the post should be in the form of a summary essay. Also, be sure to answer these questions in your essay. So what we're saying is you don't necessarily have to list all the numbers you see. Just cite some examples so you're indicating knowledge of the numbers, like what a rational number is, if you see a rational number, if you see an irrational number. All right, the questions are, were there any surprises? Did you not expect to see a particular type of number? What was the most interesting number you encountered and why? Were you able to identify a number in each of the six sets above? Give an example of each number type from your list and explain why it belongs to one set but not another. Now, a couple things I want you to think about. All right. And you see it pretty much every day. All right. And this is what I cite as an example. All right. We all see the rising price of gas, and it's starting to affect a great many of us. So if we take a look at it, all right, 2.58 and 9/10. Think about that. Is that a rational, an irrational number? Try to translate it over, because what you have and what we normally don't have in real life is a decimal with a fraction in it. So really what we're looking at it, and they have the 2.58 and 9/10 in this example. All right, if gas was only that cheap, I think we'd all be very excited right now. The 9/10, all right, and what the impact that has on that. You may want to investigate that if you're looking for topics for your discussion. Another thing, another object, a number you talk about is everyone, a lot of times people don't see irrational numbers. So I'm going to throw a little thing we like to call pi. Okay, there she is in all her glowing beauty. All right, Pi Day coming up, March 14th. Make sure you get out and celebrate. All right, and you can see all the digits behind it. All right, pi is a particular type of number. You need to investigate that if you're going to use that and realize what pi is used for. Pi is used in circles. All right, so if we have, let's say, a circular table, all right, and one of the common problems we have when we're looking is fitting things in. So let's say we have a circular dining table. I'll be a little more like something like that, and we have to make sure it fits in the room and how they fit. All right, you have to realize that we can't really measure it. All right, so we use formulas in terms of distance around and all that, and you're definitely going to want to investigate that in terms of what you do. So if you're looking for one of the types of numbers, that may be something that can help you. All right, so I'm going to shoot that one down. All right, and I'm going to go back and look at the discussion. All right, because some of us struggled with this in the last one. Your response should be a minimum of 3 posts, and they should address all the criteria in the rubric below. Your initial essay should be substantial and should address the questions in the topic session. All right, your responses to at least 2 classmates in boldface should focus on creating topical depth, connections with peers to gain a varied and new insight into the topic. If you, for example, have seen some of the same examples your classmates have, comment on it, all right, and see what, in terms of what your perspective is, and start a communication about how you handled the situation or the type of number. Your discussion involvement should include posts on multiple days. So what that means, if we look down, one of the easiest things to think about is the initial post is added, submitted early in the session before Thursday. Now, if you submitted on Thursday, I consider that on time. So I consider before Thursday at midnight, and participates on multiple days. So one of the easiest ways to do is get your post in by Thursday and then respond to your classmates either over the weekend or on Monday. So you can complete that. And that's 16 points. So just by responding correctly, all right, just by initiating the post and answering the questions, it's 16 posts. Ideas are clearly stated, includes the use of the equation editor for mathematical symbols and notation. All right, well written, no grammatical errors. Again, I'm looking for things. It should be written as if you were submitting a paper. Answer the question or is relevant to the topic in discussion, and intentionally includes the vocabulary of the module. So you need to include the types of numbers and define them, and how you classify it as a natural number, what's true about it. Makes reference to information found in the textbook or the module with appropriate citations. Okay, the responses responded to at least 2 classmates, and here where they're getting specific. Do not simply reply with "good job, I like what you said," or "I agree." You need to expand on that. Added information about the topic, so how you feel about the numbers. If you feel you can help one of your classmates out, feel free to do that. Remember, we're all trying to help each other here. Stimulated additional thought and postings by other students about the topic. So if you have something to share about it that you think will be able to expand the discussion, please do so. Includes a minimum of 3 lines of mathematical content. All right. Now, okay, the equation editor. All right, the equation editor. All right, let's see if I can get this up here. All right, so let's say I'm going to comment on something, and I'll delete this before I go. The equation editor is this little square root symbol. So it's saying you should include the equation editor. So for example, if you want to write a fraction, all right, you come here, and then up here you see the type of things that you can utilize. All right. This is what's called a subscript if you have to add that. So that's if you're talking about slope of points later. Superscript, we call it usually in math and exponents if you want to lose exponents. There's your fractions that may come in handy for this discussion. Hint, hint. So if you want to do 9, or we do the number we did, which I think was 2.45, and then for the 9/10ths, you do that. So there's your 9, and there's your 10. So you enter that. So you need to use the equation editor. Other things you can use, hint, hint. All right, square roots. All right, so if you click that, all right, that's just a square root. The square root with the end, don't worry about yet. If we need that later in the semester, we will. But you can compare like the square root of 25 versus, I should learn how to type, versus the square root of 26. All right, so make sure you're using that it specifically as a part of your grade. They're telling you need to include something with the equation editor. All right, so these are examples of types of numbers that you can expand on in your discussion. All right, so I'm looking forward to reading your content. I'm going to start replying probably tomorrow to those of you that once you start entering it. Remember, those are due next Monday. All right, so for now on, everything starts on Tuesday and is due on Monday. I hope this helps, and I'll be reaching out as well. Take care of yourself. Be safe.